Good evening, everybody. So, let us see our CSE schedule. So, we are discussing methods, right? Function. Okay, and is there anyone was not present in our last lecture? Anyone was not present in our last lecture? That's good. Everybody was here. So, in our last lecture, we started a new chapter that is called, actually we started our second half of our course, that is called method. A method or a function is a block of statements that executes something, and we use method in order to implement one of the advanced features of actually procedural programming, like it is called reusability. Like 50 years ago, people when start programming, like the professor who are old over here, they use the old machine. They did not have much advantage of using or reusing code like whatever we enjoy nowadays. Okay. So, what is a function? A function is a logical grouping of some statements that can be reused again and again as many times as needed. So reusability is the most important feature of a function. So when a function has other name, procedures or routine or subroutine, or sometimes it is more widely it is called a method. Whenever a function is defined within a class, then that is called a method. We will learn class after our test 2. So for now, just remember that function, method, module, method, behavior, member function, procedures, routine, subroutine, these are in same thing. Okay, so we discussed in our last lecture that we use a function with a name, by giving a name, to reuse our code again and again. So what is the very straightforward way to find a function or to recognize a function is that by looking a pair of parentheses. Whenever you see a pair of parentheses, in 99% case there is a function. There are few exceptions like for loop. After for we give parentheses, but for is not a function, but we can say it as a control function, like while, those two, if, else if. We use parentheses, but those are actually control function, not actual function. So actually there are two functions are classified into two major categories. One of them is called built-in function or library functions that are already built in our with our programming software. Okay. So that is called library function or built-in function. There are many library or built-in function. We already are used to using print or println function in Java. Then slide number 13. Okay. I will come. I will give more detail over here. So this is the header of a function. The function has two parts. One is called header and this is called method, body. Okay. So this is the header line of the function, and body start with a curly brace and ends with a curly brace. Okay. Okay, there are two major kinds of function. It's called built-in function or library function, or user-defined function or custom function. So we will learn how to use our own function, how to define our own function, okay, by using some built-in function or some existing function. Like the built-in functions for scanning or print or displaying something, printing something on console, we are familiar with some built-in function, right? Like in C#, write line or read line. In Java, we have some functions we are familiar with, println or print, and so far we discussed in C++ only one function, that is called getLine in C++. So far we encounter only one function, but we will learn so many function more. Okay, so in our last lecture we discussed this function. Here is the first line is called the function signature. Usually signature is needed mainly for Java, C++. Okay, we will discuss that in our last lecture. We discussed this program, how to implement this sum method in all three languages, C++, Java and C#.
Wait, public static is C++?
Yeah, it is both C++ is needed, but I asked you to wait for 2 more weeks. When we discuss class and object, then you will understand what is called public and static.
Right, but public, I thought in C++.
Let's go. I will discuss. I will tell you. It is in not in C++, in C# and Java mainly for now. So in our last lecture, we mentioned that so far we encounter only 5 differences across the languages. So far only 5 differences. So far I know. Anyone found any more difference? Okay, then but in future from this module we will encounter some significant difference across the languages. But you need to understand all 3 languages for this course. Okay. So let us go to our last program. So last program we discuss what is this sum method. We discuss sum method in C++, in C# and in Java. So this is the last 3 programs we discussed in our last class. So this is the function signature, okay, method signature, and this is the sum method, and this is the sum method call. Okay, and this is the definition of the sum method. This is the called header line, and this is the body of the sum method. And this sum method, it returns a value it returns an integer type value. That is the integer type value, sum value we are returning at this point. After the function returning means, okay, so if something happen outside, okay, and if I ask Joe, please go outside and let us know what happens outside. Okay, then Joe has an obligation to observe what happened outside, and he has an obligation to report us, right, what happened. But if I tell you that report us what happened, right, then you have an obligation to report us what happened, right. So that is called return. We return something, right, you will return us something. But if I ask Joe, please go outside and see what happens, then there is no obligation for him to report us, right. Just he will go and he will observe. Maybe he will enjoy something or he will dislike something, and then he can come back. He has no obligation to return us anything, right. So the 2 kinds of like order or request. One will return something, one will do. Both cases Joe will do something, but in one case if you ask him to return us something, or that means to report us something, that is called return. Okay, we will understand return statement in depth with example. Okay, so in C++ only, okay, so a method is usually required to declare before it used. So who is the user of this my sum method? Main is the user of our sum method. Okay, so then a question may be arised, who is the user of main method? Who is the caller of main method? Actually the operating system is the operating system is the caller of main method. So in this small program we are not handling operating system. Okay, we are not interrupting operating system. So operating system handling means that you can write a program that will shut down your computer. You can write a program, if you start that program, that will restart your computer. Okay, that is handling operating system. Like people write virus program or antivirus program that does something with the operating system or the file system. But in a small program, we are not handling operating system, so we do not care what the main method returns or to whom the main method returns something. Okay, we need to headache to understand about return type for other method than the main method. So here in general, the rule is that a method needs to declare before it is used. So where it is used is in main method, and a method must be declared outside of a method. You cannot declare a method inside a method. Okay, so in C++, you need to declare a method before you use it. Okay, but it may happen that you may enumerate of many methods. So if you declare all of your methods at the before your main method, sometime you may be misleading. Okay, you may be confused. Where is my starting point? Main method is our starting point, right? Our program starts from the main method, right? So in that case, we can do that. We can put the signature of the method before it is used, and after the our caller method, we can declare our method. So in that case, at a glance, we can see how many methods we are using for this program for now. Okay, but this is C++. Using C++, we can write program in object-oriented fashion or in procedural or normal fashion. So this program is non-object oriented. It is regular program. Okay, traditional program, procedural program, non-object oriented program. So how do I know it is an object-oriented program? So like in Java and C#, whenever you see that something that starts with class, that is an object-oriented programming. In C++ and C#, sorry, in Java and C#, everything starts with a class. That is an object-oriented program. So in object-oriented program, you can put your method within the class, must be within the class, before or after, no matter. It is not a matter if you put before of main method but not inside main method, or after the main method, it is something. So it is not an issue, so you do not need to put the signature in Java and similarly in C#. Okay, but for now remember that in C# and Java, people need to use these two extra keywords called public and static. Okay, public and static we will discuss after 2 weeks. Just for now you will not understand much, so just for now remember that we need to use these two. Okay, so this program, what this program will do, it will take two arguments. So these are variables, right? In a function can use three kinds of variable at least. One of them is called local variable. Some here is called local variable. That is defined within a block or within a method, and its functionality exists only, its functionality is limited within the method only. The sum cannot be accessed or used outside this sum method. Okay, you see that lowercase, this sum is a lowercase, this sum is an uppercase. Okay, this is some variable and this is some method. Some languages allow you to have a variable same name as its method name, like C++ and Java allow, but C# does not. It's something like at your home you may have a boy or baby named Tom. Okay, and you may have another cat or dog named Tom. Two different kind of object, right? But same name. We may have, but we generally we do not have, right? We do not give same name of a baby and then a cat or dog. So, but some languages allow, like Java and C++ may be allowed, but C# does not allow. Okay, so better we need to give a good name that shows the functionality. that just remind us what this variable will contain or will do, in short. Okay. Here an I is also is local variable. It's called whenever we declare or use a variable within a block. This is a block, for block, and this is a method. Then these are called, here sum and I are local variable. That means these functionality or usability or life of these two variables is limited within this method. It cannot be used outside this. So even my main method cannot use sum. My main method cannot say sum equal to, it cannot display sum like this way, because this sum is defined within some class, some method, right? So within, this is internal, so local, so the main method will not have access to this sum. Okay, so there is a way to use to get this. Okay, that's what we discussed in our last lecture. So here tonight we will discuss more, and you need to give attention, and in order to do well from the upcoming test and these remaining modules, you really need to practice. You need to make your hands dirty by practicing this program in all three languages. So as much as you practice, as much as you will learn more. So here I and sum are local variables, right? And then whenever a variable is declared within the parentheses of a method or method header line, that are called argument variable, or in some languages called parameters. Okay, there may have another kind of variable, like for instance in C++ we may have, is called int. For instance, if I say int sum equal to, for instance, if I say, let me put, say you say sum equal to 0, you say this sum is different than this sum. The reason is that this sum it has named with uppercase letter, and this sum is a lowercase, right? Most of the languages are case sensitive. So this sum is different than this sum. Remember that, because it has different spelling, right? So this sum here, if I say C out sum over here at the beginning, so if I say C out say sum equal to it is doable and it will work over here. So if I say sum over here, also if I print sum over here, so this sum is called global variable. So in C++ we may have a global variable that is declared outside of all methods, and that is accessible from all methods. So here we say global variable. So if I run this program, I will have sorry, what is this? The sum will always evaluate to true in sum. Is there any mistake over here in my code? C out.
This is C++.
Yeah. It should work. Let me put.
You have,
yes,
you have the method at the bottom.
Okay. So maybe the new version it is encountering a program, older version of. Okay, that's good. New C++ does it, but Java does not make an error. So let us put this sum s is in. Okay. Let us put sub. Okay. So let us put sub instead of sum. Let us put sub.
You have to call it.
Okay. to work now. Okay, here my sub variable, actually sub I put s is in lowercase, do not confuse. Actually I want to change it to sub over here. Okay, so this sub, you see that this is a global variable. This can be accessed from main method and also from sub method. Okay, and it will do, so in main, if I say in main, and say if I say in sum, we'll get different values. So in main, so we have sub equal to 0, and in sum we have sub equal to 0. This is called global variable. Global variable is accessible from all methods, okay? But local variable, this sum will not be accessible within main method, okay? So we learn global variable, and then this is called variable scope, and we also learn local variable, and these are called argument variable, okay? Like in Java, let us try with Java. In Java, I have a method right over here, variable name int sum. Let me do, if I can, have a variable sum equal to 0. In Java, I should have. This is slow. You should not complain. Okay, but we should not that we gave a name of a function as a sum, but as another variable as a sum. But we should not do it. Okay, sum is assigned, but its value is never used. That is not a problem. It is it's a warning, but still my program ran over here. Okay. In Java, we can give like a variable and a function with same name, but we should not use it. We should not give it. Okay. Okay, then we learn also this is called argument variable, right? So how argument variable is used? Whenever we call that method, we pass actual value for this argument variable. Okay, so this value we are passing over here for sum equal to 1, sum with 1 and 5. The first variable will go for num1, and the second variable will go for num2. Okay, so these are the hard-coded value. Okay, I'm passing for sum, I'm hard-coded value passing. Okay, this is one way that I can pass a hard-coded value. I can generate this value randomly using a random method, or I can use this method, this value, like with another variable. For instance, I can say int x equal to 1 and y equal to 5. Okay, and instead of calling in sum 1 5, I can say x and I can say y over here, and it will give me same result. So I don't need this actually. So I am using some local variables in order to pass data to the argument, right? So this is another way. Okay, or also later we will see, we can generate this value x for x and y randomly. Or later you will learn, when you will be expert programming, then you will learn we can get this x and y value from database, from an Excel sheet, from a database. Okay, from other source you can get it. Okay, but for now in your simple program, am I having an internet issue? Oh, I'm sorry, I have just guessed. Okay, so it is working, right? So same thing, for instance, okay, sorry, this is gone. Int x equal to 1 and y equal to 5, right? And then instead of 1, and I will put x and y. And it is valid for all languages, C++, Java, and C#, right? We can do this. We can do this in our C++ program, in our Java program, or in our, so for instance here, for instance x, and we can put y, and in C# it will do same thing, and in our C# program we can do this, for instance x, and we can do y. So what we are doing over here, we are passing argument value to the arguments by using our local variable, right? So this is the first way, was to giving a hard-coded value. The second way is to give, this is also hard-coded value using local variable, right? There are multiple ways. There's one more way, that we can take this value x and y using keyboard, right? You know how to take a value using keyboard? Like for instance, if we use our C++ program, we can say here cout enter two values, two integer values. Okay, and we say in, we can say x, in y, right? So in this program, if we run, then it will give me then x, this prompt to enter two integer values. So although initially it will assign x equal to 1 and y equal to 5, but later if I enter different value set, it will work for that value set. Okay, so let us put x equal to 1 and y equal to not 5, y equal to 6. So then it will be, this one will be 1 and this y value will be 6. Okay, the previous value will be replaced. So this is another way, right? You understand how to use keyboard to generate, to take enter? And like this code, how can you implement this code in Java? You need to use a scanner, right? Okay, do this practice. Okay, and for C#, you know how to generate, take a value using keyboard, right? Okay, do it at home, please. Okay, let's do. There is another way. I said there are multiple ways that you can take data from database, but we are not going to access database or from other complicated way. Let's see another simple way. For now, so far, we recall. Let's see. Okay, so if you go to my Replit account, I have the random array source, random number. Okay, so I have programs in which language? Random number generation example 1 CPP, random number generation example 1 C#, and random number generation example 1 Java. Let's go see. I have all three languages. I have this program in all three languages. Let me open the top one. Let's see. Okay, let me understand what this program do. I did this a long time ago. Okay. Here. Okay, see, you see that another method, another use of library method or built-in method in C++, that's rand method. Okay, this rand method is used to generate a number randomly. You understand how to generate a random number and statistics, right? We guess a number, right? Randomly, that means, but in our programming language, we have to give a boundary, lower bound and upper bound. For instance, if we say that generate a number between 1 and 10, generate a number between 10 and 20, generate a number between 10 and 100, or 100 to 1000, right? So we have to give lower bound and upper bound to make our life easy. So this rand method, see, it works this way. So for instance, what does this program do? The following code segment will randomly generate 10 integer numbers between 1 to 10 and assign to the variable a random. So here it has a for loop. So what this for loop, what this for loop will do, it will generate a random number 10 times. Okay, so range is here from 1 to 10, right? So it will generate a random number 10 times, and then what is my minimum number over here will be 1 and maximum number will be 10. And this is the formula. You have to put max number plus 1 over here minus min number plus min number. This is the formula in order to generate a number within a certain range. You have to memorize for now. There is no shortcut way. Yes.
So in the comment on line 10, it doesn't really matter, but segment is misspelled in line 10.
Segment. Thank you so much. You're good eyes. Okay. So this program, if I generate this program, run this program, it will generate 10. It will generate one random number but 10 times. Okay. Then what it will do over here? It will count that numbers. For instance, count that number. Okay, sorry. Count that number with, it will check whether that randomly generated number match with my favorite number. So for instance, my favorite number is 7. So then this program, what it will do is program. Okay, give attention please. For the next program, we will use some code from over here, and I will give you homework, or in your lab work you will need some code from here. Give attention please. So here this program, if I run this program, what it will do? So it will generate, so let me run it again. It will generate 10 number between 1 to 10. Okay, so let me make it this time. It will generate 10 it will generate one number 10 times actually. It will generate a number between 1 and 10 times, and it will check how many times my favorite number 7 was generated. So this time it generated 7 one time. Okay, if I run this program, it will start and it will generate 7. I don't know how many times it will, so it say it did not generate any 7. You see there is no 7 over here, right? So if I run this program again, so it generated 7 again one time. So if I run this program one more time, it did not generate 7. If I run this program one more time, okay, so it is always generating one time. I want to generate more than one time. See, it generated 2 times. So what it is checking over here, it is generating a number randomly, and it is checking whether that number is generated. So this, the condition is over here. If a random number is equal to my number, equal my number, then it is incrementing the counter. Initially my counter was 0, and if counter is greater than 0, then I'm saying my favorite number generated count times. Else otherwise means counter equal to 0, then it says that my favorite number was not generated. Okay, so this program is in C++. I have also C#, same program in C#. Okay, give attention please. C# has completely different method. It says C# has completely different method. We use actually random method. There is a built-in random class. We need to create an object of this random class. This is the object rand. I put rand, and we use next, and we put min number and max number plus 1. So it will generate segment generate a number between 1 and 10. How many times? 10 times. And it will check how many times it matches with my favorite number. Let us, for instance, this time make my favorite number as 5. So it will check how many times my favorite number 5 was generated. This time 5 was not generated. Okay, this is not generated again. Is generated one time. Okay, so people remember that in C++ has a way to generate a method, a number, random number, and C# has completely different way. Okay, but Java has pretty simple similar way, and then we can say Java. So in Java there is a random, there is a math class, built-in math library math class, and math class has a random method, built-in method, and we use that random method to generate a number like this way. Initially it generates as a floating point number, float number. So but we use this technique to generate a number within our range, minimum value and max value. So here minimum value is 1 and max is 10. So if we run this program, it will generate a random number between 1 to 10. How many times? 10 times, right? Okay, and it will check how many times it matches with my favorite number 7 over here. Okay, so I got 7 only one time. So if simple, if I generate random number 100 times, so then I can run this. Just I will change 10 to 100 over here, just one single change, and then if I run this program, it will show me how many times I got 7 auto generated. It got 7 13 times. Okay, so you see the across the languages, same thing is implemented in different way, right? So we are generating a simple number, random number, right? Okay, in C++ it has a kind of code, and Java and C# has completely different code. Okay, so you have to, for now you have to understand it, at least in all languages.
Talking about, like, is this within the method, or are you on a completely different topic?
Okay,
We were talking about methods.
yes, it is within method. Okay, so it is within method chapter. So these are methods. So this random is a built-in library method. This random is a library method, and this random is a constructor. You will learn constructor later. And here in C++ we have different method. This is called rand method. So here how many times we are generating, for instance?
You have something else in C++ though, field shape to have
Sorry.
hashtag include.
Okay.
Time.
Okay, so here okay, C time is needed to use time. Okay, so this is the A stand for it initialize the random number generator. So go to my program please, and it has pretty I have put comments what every lines do, but there might have different way. Do a Google search how to generate a number. Okay, how to generate a number in C++, how to generate a number in Java, how to generate a number in C#. You will go different, you may get different code. Okay, for now you can follow my code, or if you do not like it, you can, if you find a better code or very simple code, you can follow this. Okay, but at least you need to know that there is a way to generate a number randomly, right?
So do you have to have the srand?
Yes, Yes, we need it. So if I do not give it, let us see what happens. So let us see 100 times. Okay. Okay, it works. Why it is giving me this one? Okay, so if it does not initialize the number generator, okay, that's good. If it does not need, then fine. Okay.
It'll generate the number the first time, but it won't generate random numbers every time you run the code, initialize.
Let me see. It is giving 7 generated 15 times. Let us see 40000 and 47864. Ah, you see 47864. It is generating same number, right? Okay, it is generating same number series. So this is why you need to use this one, and it will get a different number. Okay, play with this code. Okay, get my code and then play with. Maybe sometime later you will find a better code. Okay, and follow this. At least you need to understand at least one way in each of the 3 languages how to generate a number. So here my code to generate a number here only is this one, right? Only this one, right? So now I may use this code to generate my x and y value, right? Instead of taking, for instance, here x and y value, integer x, y, for instance here, and instead of taking keyboard input, right, I may generate x and y value randomly, right? Get code from over here and try over here. That part is for you. Put the code over here, like get the code from here, only this line. And in order to use this line, you need to use this line, and you need to use this line, and in order to use this line, you also need to use this and this. So let me do it for now. Maybe quickly it will be do not take that much time. So I need to this two, then I need this one, I need this one where in main method, right? In the main method I'm using this one, and I need this one, I need this one, I do not need this code over here, I do not need this code over here, and then the last line I need this one, I need this one. So what it will do, int, instead of a random number I will put, I already have the variable x, I will put x equal to this, and I will put y equal to, again let me generate only y, okay, x equal to 1, and let us put x equal to 1, because my starting variable here is and put okay, I don't need to this one. So it will generate, what is the y value it generated? Okay, maybe it generated y value equal to 10. Let us see what are the y value generated. Y equal to y, right? Okay, Then I can see what was my y value generated. So y value generated was 10. Okay. Is it generating same thing again and again? Okay, this time y generates 8. So it is working. Okay, so now let us go back to our original program where we left. So this program, this is called the return type. Okay, so this is the very tiny but very significant code. Okay, so this program, what it will do, it will return, we said integer. That means at the end of this method it will be able to return an integer value. Okay, so what is an integer value? 0 is an integer value, right? Okay, -1 is an integer value, -100 is an integer value, +100 is an integer value. So any integer value we can return at the end of this method. Usually the return statement becomes the last statement, usually, in general. Okay, there you can make it an exception. So I can return 100 or I can return 0. So whatever, if I return 0 at the end of this program, so then whatever my x value or y value, no matter, it will give me result only 0. What is the reason? So at this point let us make it simple. I do not need this statement. Okay, let us make it simple. So no matter what value I pass to this program, it will return only, it will give us a result 0, right? The reason is that at the end of this I return a 0 value, right? So if I return, yes.
Can you go scroll to the top? Scroll up.
Why?
So you have it initialized on 0.
So this sum, this one?
Right, that's where
No, that sum I'm not returning for this one. Let me return this. Don't confuse with that one. That sum was the variable that I this one. This sum. Do not confuse about that. That was variable. Okay, sum.
Yeah, but now it's giving you an error.
No, sub. That was sub. Which one? This one. This one is giving me error. Okay. So no matter, I don't need to use this one. So the global variable. Okay. So no matter what kind of value I pass to this sum method, it will give me 0 result because I return 0, right? If I return 500 or 5000 for instance, any value within integer range, okay, then it will return me 500.
So I thought initially you said that you couldn't put a, in C++, you couldn't put the class at the bottom.
So there is no class so far. So this is my method. So this is my method. I put the method body bottom. I put the method body at the bottom. Okay.
Wait, how do you put the, because I thought you said initially that in C++ you couldn't put the method at the bottom.
I cannot. I put the signature at the top. This is the signature. This is the signature I put. As long as I put signature, I can put method at the bottom. Okay. I could put that method over here, entire method, but that would be, our method would be verbose, like 100 lines, 1000 lines. Then we would be confused that where is my main method, where is the starting point of my program.
So it goes to the bottom then?
Yeah, this is the method actually executing. This is the main method actually here.
Right.
This is the function is executing. Okay, so return value is an important, so return statement and return value is an important statement, an important element of your function. Okay, you need to be careful, or no matter how write your program, if you do so, like a single mistake at the last line, your program will not give expected result, right? So this is total garbage. No matter how effectively you design your method, and but if at the last line, if you, so here it is expected to return the sum, but if you do not return the sum value, then you will give an expected result, right?
So how can you have to put the in sum again at the bottom after you already initialize it at the top?
I did not initialize the top. What do you see initialize?
Or I don't know, you said signature. So
Signature is for method. Signature is for entire method, okay? Signature is for, I said I could declare a variable, global variable at the top.
okay, but you have I'm confused.
Where?
So
I think what you're confused about is like you don't have the signature there, you have to declare your whole method at the beginning or the program doesn't know what's going on.
So here, if we do not put the signature, you need to put the entire code over here before your main method. You need to put the entire code in main method.
in sum again, isn't that just
Here? This one?
yes.
This one is the signature, I told you. These are the signature of the
I
method.
understand that.
Okay, then what is the problem?
Okay, it's kind of like in the main, if you have int variable, you would only call the variable. You wouldn't put int variable again. If you wanted to redefine it or whatever.
If I have in the main method, if I have integer type variable, another int what? Name, what is name?
Yeah, if you just put int, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you
Okay, it
put
does not
int
matter.
a,
It's j equal to
Yeah.
j equal to 10, okay?
Yeah, and
So-
then if you wanted to change it, or if you wanted to do something else, you just put j equals 20.
Yes,
and that's
j equal to, then I said j equal to
Right,
20.
but you wouldn't put int again. So how come with the signature, and then the method.
You don't understand? We said that when you discuss variable declaration, then for the variable declaration, we need to put type only one time. So this type is for variable, but this type is for method, return type. They are two different things. Do not confuse about this type is for this number, variable type, and this type is for num2 variable type, but this type is for the entire function type.
So if you didn't have that up there, would you just move the semicolon to the second one?
So if I put the entire code over here, then I do not need this. I do not need to put this signature over here. But maybe signature should be optional. You can put your signature over here, okay. But if you do not put your signature, then you must put your method. You must put your entire method before you use. Where are you using this method? You are using this method within the main method, right?
Right.
So we need to declare it main method. So if you put over here out after the main method, it will not work. Compiler will not know who is sum. This is the thing I discussed last week and also
No,
today. So this is the called signature.
discuss that last week. You did not.
Yes, I discussed this last week.
The signature?
Yes.
What?
Yes, signature. Review my video, please. I discussed this. This is only for C++. Java and C# does not require that, because Java and C#, as long as you put the method within your class, before or after, is okay. The issue is only with C++. Okay. Then let us go. Then if we want that our method will not return anything, okay, then the way is to put void, void. Void means this program will do a lot of things, but it will not return any value. If a function's return type is void, it cannot return any value. Usually we put return type void that, for instance, we want to execute something but do not want to report output or feedback to anyone else, to the caller or anyone else, okay? If I ask you to go outside and see what happens, then it is optional for you to give us feedback, right? So what happened, to give us report. But if I ask you, if I tell you to go outside and see and tell us what happened. Then you have an obligation to tell us what happened, right? You have an obligation to return us something. That is implemented using void. Okay, then if a method's return type is void, then you cannot return a value, but you may have a return statement. That is an interview question I will discuss later in depth. So you may have a return statement, but you cannot return any value. For instance, here I said void, so this program will give me an error. What is the error over here? So I'm trying to use this as a variable. Okay. Here, for instance, in cout and in write line and also in print line, the method, if a method returns a value, then only you can use this here within a main method, within println method. Only if it returns a value. Okay, if it does not return a value, then you cannot call a method like this way. Actually, what happened when a method returns a value? For instance, let us go back to its original state. It said is return integer type, right? Then I can, so this method returns an integer type value, right? So that means I can use this method like a local, an integer type variable. I can use this method like an integer type variable, or assign this method to an integer type variable. For instance, I can put over here, for instance, s, and I say int s equal to, if I say this, so whatever my function it returns s, returns, that will be assigned to s, and s will be printed over here. Okay, so it will work. But as soon as I say void, that means it will not be able to return any statement, any value. So this line will make an error. So if I say, if I have this line, it will make an error. Then if I get rid of this line, then it will do. It will not make an error over here, but it will make error over here. Okay, let us see. The error will be line number 27. So in main method, this is the line number is making. What is the error is coming actually? Okay, so the problem is that I put over here, so it does not match the signature. Signature does not match. So I must need to make it void. This is line number 7. It is complaining. Signature must be matched with the name, and it is making some errors, right? Here the error is actually generating over here. So my sum method, it does not return a value, but I am trying to use that method to assign or use like a integer type value, right? So this is an error. So if I get rid of this error method, this line it will, okay, so these two lines, then it will do for now, but still I have error, will have error for these 20 and 30, 29 and 30. So if I take off these 29 and 30, then my program will run, but it will not give me any output. Okay, because the sum method does not have any print statement, right? So if I want to print the sum, for instance, here I want to print cout sum ENDL. Okay, so then it will, sorry, I forgot semicolon. Then if I call my sum method like this way, at this point I can call my sum method like this way. Traditional way I can call, then it will give me result. But the difference is that here the previously I used this sum, this case, when it returned a value as a variable I could use, but when it does not return a value, when the return type is void, I cannot use that way. Okay, so return type is an important element of your function. So based on the purpose or the function of a function, that means the purpose of a function, okay, the functionality of a function, we need to set up an appropriate return type. So for instance, if we say that, if we know that this function does not need to return any value, then we will put void. The word keyword void and int, okay, is contradictory. You cannot have void. If you have void, then you cannot have return type. If you have return type, then you cannot have void, okay. A function can return any type. It can return a boolean type, it can return a float type, it can return an integer type, it can return a string type, it can return a character, it can return an object, it can return an array. Okay, all of the data type, 8 primitive data types, right? There are, a function can return all of these data types. So based on the function's functionality, you should select an appropriate return type. So let us think that if we want to use a function to find average of two numbers, what should be the return type? Let us do this quick activity. If I want to declare a function to find average, like mean of two numbers, or in a group of numbers, okay? Yes, it can be written an integer, but in my average can be a floating number, right? If you add 2 and 3, then the result will be 2.5, right? So that it should have a float number, okay? So if you want to say return letter grade, what should be your return type? Okay, so if you say character, then you cannot return A plus, only A, B, C, D. If you say A plus or B plus, okay, that how many characters?
That's 2.
Then you have to make string.
Right.
Okay.
You said to do a letter grade.
I know. See, letter grade. If it's so based on your data type, okay. So, are you asleep? What kind of return should be? If my function name is here, Boolean, right? Yes or no, right? Okay. Get GPA.
Double or float.
Yes, float or double. That's good. So print menu. That should be. Void should be an appropriate here. It prints anything. It does not report anything. Okay. It's a print. That's print. You may return a string, but should be void. Okay. Get student name.
Wait, that should be what? A void?
Void. Print name menu should be void.
Okay. So you won't
Okay.
return anything. but
I
you
don't
can
need to
still
return
call it
anything.
the function.
Yeah. So in general. So okay. So the get student name should be string, right? And calculate average.
Double or float.
Yes. That's good. So let us check our there. Okay. But okay. So average, double, float, or integer. You can return anything, right? So but double or float should be more appropriate. For letter grade, it can say character if it is single letter, but if it is two letters like A plus, B plus, a option, then it should be string. And then asleep, this is Boolean. You say, if you say is active, is alive, then Boolean, right? Okay, get GPA, it should be double or float. Then don't confuse about the method does. Do not confuse what a method does with its return type. Okay, so print menu should be void, and then student name string, and then you got. Okay. Then method name. A method name should be an appropriate name. Whatever you do with this method, then you should give a method name. Okay, in general, when you say print menu, that it displays the something. You know, I see display like hello world program. You say hello world, print hello world. We do not put any. So remember the hello world program? It says void return type.
So all you would do essentially is you would write a method, and all you would do is tell it to print something, and then when you call that method,
That will print
it's
something.
going to actually print. That's all.
Yes. So whenever you declare a method, you should give an appropriate name, right? So based on the name, you should sometimes we should give a good name of a method so that by looking the name we can recognize mostly that what this function does, right? And also we can guess what should be the return type. This is how we should work.
So the question
Yes.
to piggyback off what you said is, what would be the point of having that menu in a method? If you're just having it, what's the point of
Okay.
developing a method if all it's going to do is print? Why wouldn't you just rather put that in the main?
Okay, so here that actually we need this sometime for this here menu bar, right? It has menu and sub menu, right? So these are actually used as a method. So whenever it's needed to put file, you see that how many times in operating system, how many places this file menu has. Is save method when you call save for save purpose, for open, right? For a lot of purposes we use same method.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, you have any question? Okay, for now I have just last minute. I want to give you an activity. Okay, for home. Okay, so you will just I wrote that for Java part, C++ part. This is the difficulty. This is why I wrote. For your task is that you will rewrite this program and you will generate the Y value for Java and C# program. Go to my code and get my code from here. It has the code, okay? It has code how to generate. First of all, try to play with this program. Try to understand how random number is generated. Then use this code to your program, okay? To your this program, to this program to auto generate the last value. Okay, in Java and in C#. No matter which lab you are taking, you need to understand this in all three languages. No exception. Please. Thank you so much and you have a good night.
Can I get a picture of this?
You don't need to take a picture. I put my, you can take a picture, but I put my video on YouTube, right? You know my YouTube channel, so you can watch there.
Okay. Okay, and I'm just saying, okay, so I'm just saying.